I just want to confirm 3 p.m. tomorrow, that's the explanation of vote? Or it's emergency session?
The emergency special session, there will be a resolution submitted and then there will be adoption.
It's the 10th emergency session?
Yes.
So there will be a resolution tomorrow to...
There should be.
Okay.
One is expected.
Right,
yes.
okay.
Can you speak more about what impact the resolution will have? In particular, that many people have criticized the General Assembly since October 2023 for simply issuing proclamations. U.S. vetoes, General Assembly calls for things, nothing happens. Is there any reflection on the part of the General Assembly to go back to past precedents, to do things with teeth? For example, in the case of apartheid South Africa, that regime was suspended from participation in the General Assembly, and then in 1981, the General Assembly called for mandatory sanctions and an arms embargo on that state. Of course, in 1956, which involved Gaza, when France and Britain, along with Israel, invaded both Gaza and Sinai, a peace force was almost immediately created by the General Assembly because of the French and British veto. Is there any reflection on the part of the General Assembly that it has not lived up to its responsibilities in this case?
Now, first, let me stress that the General Assembly has continued to play a more important role in terms of, maintaining peace and security, especially when you have, for example, a veto in the Security Council. What happens in the General Assembly, it is a member state-driven process. If there is a request, for example, there is a request for this 10th emergency session, then it takes place. These sessions are important. There is impact because you have these resolutions that are adopted that reflect the consensus, that sends a strong signal in terms of what the international community feels with regard to what is happening in Gaza. And there are instances where you would see the resolutions shaping thoughts and mobilizing efforts and raising awareness.
The last one in December, I believe, passed, 150 to 10 or something like this, but it didn't have any teeth in it. Isn't it possible for the countries that are genuinely concerned to pass a resolution with teeth that still gets the 2/3 majority?
Well, again, it depends on the actions and the requests by member states, but I will just reiterate the importance of these resolutions, that they do make a mark and they do shape, the opinions of those on the ground.
The resolution that I've seen, the draft of it, calls for all measures necessary to be taken by member states. What is the thinking in terms of how much latitude that gives member states in terms of doing things like sanctions and so on, commensurate with their responsibilities under the UN Charter, under the Genocide Convention?
I would answer the question in terms of every resolution that is submitted. This depends on member states and the request by member states. With regard to this resolution that is being submitted tomorrow, it will be, of course, again, calling for a ceasefire, again, stressing the need for humanitarian aid and the release of hostages. But I cannot stress how important these resolutions are in terms of reflecting the need for change and the will of the international community. Are there any other questions? Gabrielle, please.
Thanks, Sharon. Just for planning purposes.
And is that it? Yes, please.
When you say that you can't stress the level of how important these resolutions are from the General Assembly, you must admit, had no impact on Israel's conduct. They're killing 100 people a day, they're not letting aid in, and so on and so forth. So in real world terms, how can you say that that's the case?
This is what I would say. I would say that it's about member states and member states' action here, and the General Assembly is only as relevant, and the actions in the General Assembly is only as relevant as the actions taken by all countries. I believe that member states are doing the best that they can, and there is this reiteration of the need to address what is happening in Gaza, and that will continue to be the case. If there is a request for sanctions, that will depend on the request by member states.